What's going on, everybody? Mortem here, this time bringing you a video about 5 things that I would like to see change in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Now, these are small things, they're not big at all, more like quality of life stuff that I think would make the game just more enjoyable in the long run. Now, me personally, if you include the time I've spent in the beta as well as in the actual full release already, I've got about 300 hours in. And these are just 5 things that I think would really help people enjoy the game long term quite a bit more. First up, we have using health potions until you are fully healed. More specifically, being able to have an option where you could use them all at once until you are fully healed. As it stands now, you have to manually use 1 health potion from your inventory at a time, and sometimes, especially if you are just burning through a ton of lower level potions that you've had stocked up, this can be frankly pretty tedious. So just a one-click option to, use all of these until you're fully healed would really go a long way. And honestly, just save you some boredom of having to right-click and click use over and over and over again. Second, kind of in that same vein, however, the ability to learn all available scrolls all at once. So if you're unaware, some arcane casters can learn spells from scrolls by studying them. However, much like the potions, in order to do this, you have to click on that character and then manually right-click each and every scroll to see whether or not your character can learn that one. Click Learn and do that for every single scroll. One button that would simply copy every possible scroll that is available to that character to learn just all at once, and then maybe give you a list of what you just learned, would really be fantastic, because as someone who has to keep playing this over and over again, especially in the first couple acts, having to constantly go through and manually learn each spell from a scroll can get very tedious very quickly. Third, this one is a slightly more specific problem. However, later in the game, when there are no time limits, you might find yourself doing some of the crusade management stuff all at once, meaning that you can skip days to pass the time when, for instance, you've already done all of your adventure stuff, and maybe even you're ready to move on to the next act, but you want to get crusade stuff done first due to the way the game is set up, and you might skip a bunch of days. And then, when you exit to the world map, your capital is suddenly under attack by several demon armies that have made their way there, while you were skipping time in the crusade menu. Enemy army movement isn't exactly a secret. Every time a day passes, the screen, if you have the option on, will actually show you the enemy army moving. So it's not intended to be like some big surprise when these guys show up. For that, I think when you're in the crusade menu, it would be nice to get a warning of some sort if an enemy army was maybe 1 day out from hitting you. That way you have time to back out, go into the actual army management mode, and get your forces ready to defend your capital instead of coming out of that crusade menu and being swamped by enemies because you were trying to get some more tedious crusade stuff done. And that brings us to number 4. Now, number 4 is really more of a visual change to something that is already in the game. Every time you mouse over a location marker, you will see a description as well as the last time you were there. Or if you've not been there at all, it won't say that, of course. But what I would like to see here is for every location you've been to, maybe plant a little flag that actually shows you've been to that location. And if they wanted to maybe take it one step farther, if it would be possible to even put the in-game date that you were there actually on that flag, that would be really cool too. Now, again, this is a small thing, and the game does already kind of try to do something like this. For instance, locations you haven't been to are supposed to kind of sparkle, and then once you're there and gone, in theory, there's supposed to be more of a dull, just regular location marker, but I've found that can be a little inconsistent, and so I think this flag system would make it much more visually clear the areas that you've been to and cleared, and if they were able to put the date on those flags, be able to see just quickly at a glance while you're looking at your world map when the last time you were there was, which personally would make organizing trips and things around the world map easier for me personally, and I think it might actually help some other people as well. And last but not least, but honestly probably my single most wished for thing, is an option to increase your character's movement speed in the town hubs. And this is for exactly the reason you think. Oftentimes in town you are perfectly safe, there is no threat, you're not even subject to a weight limit in town. And when you leave the Citadel, you have the option of choosing what part of Dresden you would like to go to from the Citadel, which helps a little bit. But then the second you leave one of those other locations, you then have to walk around town, which can be just a little tedious. Now, again, it's not like this is taking all day or anything, so it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I think it would go a long way towards just kind of bridging those moments where you're just kind of sitting there watching the map, waiting for your character to get through a perfectly safe zone where you're not even subject to a weight limit, and you're kind of just staring at your screen for a second, I think an increased movement speed would help a lot there. Maybe even make it a toggle option. There you go, guys. There is just 5 quick kind of quality of life changes I would like to see in the game. I'm sure other people have suggestions of their own they'd like to see kind of in that vein, so if you do, by all means, leave a comment down below. But in the meantime, truly, just thank you guys so much for watching. May you wander in wisdom and have an amazing day.